Hey there, brand new Village Vice. He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. And Zach, the deadline to enter the portal is one thing, but it's still going to be a while before all the dust settles and everybody is going to be at their new place. And so that means
Right.
Auburn's going to continue to host guys, and we're still going to be a little while before the roster is complete for 2024.
Yeah, and we saw guys really from all throughout college football use as much time as possible to enter the portal. Auburn really came out almost just absolutely clear. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but Coy Moore entered the portal kind of on that last day, and so he's entering as a grad transfer, and so he'll have 1 year left of eligibility. I don't think that's surprising many folks. So the fact that that's really the last guy that Auburn lost via the portal this window, I think it kind of puts a firm stamp of, yes, this staff did a great job recruiting its own roster and keeping all of the key players for another season.
Yeah, I think so. And let me ask you directly about Coy. What impact do you think that has on Auburn's receivers, on the passing game as a whole in 2024? I mean, you lose some experience there. There's no question. You lose experience, and you lose capability too. He's not just been a guy. I mean, he's caught a few balls here and there. What does it do to the team?
Yeah, I think Coy has talent. It just never really turned into what he probably wanted it to be from a production standpoint, and what Auburn fans, and even when he was at LSU, I think LSU fans kind of wanted a little bit more too. And it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And some of that may have been fit. Some of that may have been scheme, or maybe just the guys around them. But one thing I do think, with them losing Coy, you ask some of these young guys. I asked Cam Coleman in an interview once, like, who are some of the leaders? And he quickly said Coy Moore, and he quickly said Cam Brown. And so I think that means something. I think Coy was well liked within the room. It's just, if you're Coy and you see all these other guys that are coming in, that you've been here longer than these freshmen, you've been here longer than these transfers that have come in, and yet you see yourself kind of sliding down the depth chart and losing all of these targets. Like, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for at all. So I don't think it has a whole lot of impact as far as what Auburn's going to do on the field next season.
Yeah. I think he was hurt by the injury last year that took away really the first half to 2/3 of his season. It was devastating when he went down in the summer. And now, as you said, that he's healthy and 100%, and the snaps still to kind of look, the disbursement still looks the way that it appears to look, then sure, he's a grad transfer, which means he has his degree, and he wasn't really bound by the limits of the portal window anyway as a grad transfer. So great. Hope he lands somewhere where he can see the field a lot more and get a lot more opportunities this season.
Well, and just to clarify, they did change that rule. You can't grad transfer whenever you want anymore. So just like grads were just like every other underclassman, you had to enter the portal. If you wanted to be eligible for your next team this year, you had to be in the portal by midnight or 11:59 on Tuesday. So Coy did that. And so the grad transfer thing, it's almost irrelevant at this point.
Okay. Fair enough. Yes. Why not? Let's restrict those who have graduated. Let's not restrict anybody else, but let's restrict those who graduate. That's good. I guess everybody's under the same restriction, so it's fine.
I think it's for the coaches. I think the coaches probably asked for that, and they say, like, look, we've got to have some kind of like part of the calendar where we don't have to recruit our own guys. And I'm sure that's what the NCAA did to match that.
That's true. Yeah, you're right about that. All right. That's fair. I'll drop it. I'll leave that alone. So
you can, if you want, I have time for a Brad Law rant if you're ready to go.
No, it's fine because the premise of that is right. The fact that the calendar's screwed up and they need to continue to do things to fix it is fine. So no beef with that. All right.
So you're going to see this next wave now of visits.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a guy that Auburn they posted earlier today. This kid's really talented. His name is Javion Cole. His name on Twitter is Javion Boog Cole, which I love that.
Sure. That's right up your alley.
He needs to come to Auburn for that alone. But looks like he started his career at Cal Poly and then transferred to San Jose State last year. And the guy is just ascending. He's just ascending every single year. As a freshman, he led Cal Poly in total picks. I think he had 4. I think he led San Jose State in picks last year. I think he had 3.
Yes.
And this is a guy, he entered the portal on April 25th. I think officially it was the 29th. But he's received offers from Michigan State, Cincinnati, Miami, Houston. Auburn was the first school to give him a graphic and say, hey, you're officially visiting. But a lot to like about this kid. He is ascending quickly, and he's got 2 years left of eligibility by my count, Brad. And Auburn needs some of that. Auburn needs juniors on this roster.
That's a very good point. Now, let me just ask generically, how do you feel about a corner? Forget names, official visits, anything. But as a cornerback sort of aficionado, right? 5'10", 185, 38 tackles, 3 interceptions, 10 pass deflections to go along with the 3 interceptions. And, oh, by the way, 1 sack as well. So if you want to get creative off the edge,
sure,
he's at least got a little experience with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's versatile. I think he's versatile. You look at it, and I just think that this is a guy who can move around to some extent. He's also very good and was very involved on special teams. I wrote about it at Auburn Daily. I'm trying to find the stat count. All right, so last year, Cole was San Jose State's highest rated defender according to Pro Football Focus. Some people are higher on that than others. As a corner, it's not super easy for that to be the case. So I think that's pretty telling of how effective he was. He played the majority of his snaps at outside corner. He played 876 total snaps last year. 627 were outside. He played just 6 as a slot corner, which you kind of read his stats, his measurables. That almost sounds like a slot corner because he's a little bit smaller than a typical SEC corner. And then he lined up in the box on 61 snaps. So you kind of got to assume that he was like in a nickel situation. They walked him up close to the line in that situation. So he can do it, but San Jose State saw him as a pure outside corner based off of those snap counts.
Yeah.
To me, he's probably going to have to do a little bit of a few things until he kind of finds that solid spot. But to me, he seems rangy. He seems like he has the ability to move. But yeah, the size is something you've got to look at, Brad. Great point.
Yeah, I read some of the articles following Kahlil Jacobs' visit from South Alabama, and they talked about how they were sort of giving him the pitch as a dime in this defense. 6'2", 215, 220, and his versatility there, and he kind of wants to play off the edge. So I think it's interesting that these guys are going to get real targeted pitches from the coaches for sort of exactly how they're going to be used in this offense. DJ Durkin with really good experience as the defensive coordinator, moving some guys around, some versatile guys playing them in different spots.
Yeah, and you got to know if you're entering the portal at any point in April, but especially late April, your next school, like the roster is going to be pretty much done.
Yeah.
They've gone through spring. They've already gotten several weeks worth of reps at certain spots and trying different positions and formations and personnel, all of that. They've got a pretty good idea of what this football team looks like at this point, especially when you look at Auburn, because I think they've done such a good job with crafting this roster in the short amount of time in the grand scheme of things that the staff has been here.
Yeah.
You're looking for specific things. And it's going to be like that in most of the SEC schools. So, I mean, you talk about, the Jacobs kid. It's like, well, Auburn's roster is pretty much set. Alabama's roster is pretty much set. Missouri's roster is pretty much set. You're just looking for specific things to kind of add to either depth or maybe, if it's a dime back or that second buck rusher on the end. They're looking for specific role players at this point in the roster. And I think both of these guys kind of fit the bill that they would make Auburn's roster better if they were to come here.
Yeah, may or not make a difference in number of wins. It may not do very much to the floor or ceiling in 2024, but I think the 2 specific guys we're talking about today are absolutely depth pieces, and they help you in 25 in addition to 24.
Yeah, they help you in 25, and then you just never know. I mean, especially in that linebacker room or the defensive back room. I mean, God forbid, but like, what if something happens to Kayin Lee?
Sure.
What if something happens to Antonio Kite? What if something happens to, Auburn's had kind of a rough stretch of luck when it comes to linebacker health until last year. Well, even still, Austin Keys missed some time. But what if something happens to one of those linebackers? I mean, that's a physical position. A lot of linebackers miss time. So, sure, it's depth, but you'd rather have that guy as your third or fourth option than, a walk-on or in some cases a true freshman. I think Auburn's situation when it comes to true freshmen is better than most just because of the recruiting class, but you just never know. I mean, ideally they don't impact the floor or the ceiling, but if the worst case scenario happens, there's a chance that it can impact the floor in a positive way.
Sure. Always a chance. Yeah. Didn't mean to dismiss that, but yeah, no question. Always a chance. I do think it is for building though. Like it's not just are you bringing them in because they're going to help you beat Georgia? I don't know about that.
Probably not.
No, probably not. But absolutely it's a piece for more than just next year or more than just this season as well.
Yeah. If I'm looking for a piece to add to my repertoire, to help me look better and feel better, Brad, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking Roback. I'm thinking Roback all day, every day. I'm talking about the quality that Roback puts out. Their gear is second to none. It is versatile. Speaking of versatile players, Roback's gear is versatile. Like the quarter zip. It's good for the golf course if it's a cooler day or a windy day. It's great for the office. It's great for a night out. I think the best way, Zach, if you're asking me to describe Roback in just a few words, it would be best fit, best feel. Love their polos, their quarter zips, their hoodies are tremendous. Already looking forward to when the weather gets cooler again so I can feature the hoodies a little more regularly. Roback is going to give our viewers 20% off when you go to roback.com. That's RHOBACK. Roback.com. Use promo code VICE20 at checkout. You will get 20% off your first order at roback.com, and you'll see for yourself. We look forward to the comments where you say, hey guys, tried Roback, absolutely love it. Probably not going to wear a whole lot else than Roback.
Right. Yeah. So one thing I love to see, and I used to almost dread this part of the year when it comes to following Auburn recruiting, is this is the time where you're starting to see more and more coaches hit the road and build relationships and not only look at the current class, but beyond. And I think, Brad, what we've seen just the last few days, and I mean, it's a trend. It's certainly a theme here.
Yeah.
But you see these coaching staffs go to places to talk to 2026 recruits. It's just like they're already hitting the ground running. They've got 2 guys committed in 2026, which doesn't really seem like a real year, if I'm being honest with you. But a few days ago, we saw the coaching staff go up to Coach L's company up in Birmingham. He's a well-known, he trains all of the defensive linemen that come through Birmingham at high school, college, and even some of the NFL level. He's fantastic at what he does. But he posted a picture of Vontrell King-Williams and DJ Durkin coming to see him. Yeah. Oh, and then just coincidentally, a few minutes later, he posts a picture of Vodney Cleveland, this very electric 4-star kid from Prattville who's already 300 pounds, and he moves just like he's nothing. And the guy looks like a 24-year-old grown man. And they're already kind of there. Auburn's the favorite to add Vodney Cleveland in the 2026 class, which is huge. And then earlier today, you see Coach Aldridge up in, I think the school is in Huntsville. I think it's in Huntsville. But Mae Jemison going to get Hezekiah Harris, who's another 2026 defensive standout. He's an edge player. He was at 8A, I believe, and it seems like it's all Auburn. It's all Auburn for him. And some folks have predicted that he'll eventually get a 5th star, which is encouraging for obvious reasons. But it's just the fact that this staff already has a plan laid out.
Yep.
And they're already working on the 2026 class, and they're the favorite for some of these guys. It's like, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to look like. And it's finally coming together, and it's incredible.
Yeah, and I think it's worth highlighting anytime there are specific ways to highlight it, just like what you just mentioned. Jemison is in Huntsville, by the way. Good call.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. So
I'm really good at that.
Nobody is giving out trophies or participation trophies or anything like that. What is totally okay, though, to recognize and be happy about is the fact that the staff knows what it has to do to get a seat at the table. I read an article from Ainsley Lee at AL.com about Auburn's spring transfer portal success. And it sort of highlighted how they focused more on the high school relationships in the December portal window, and then knew they needed to change the approach in order to have a little more portal success in the spring. They kind of sacrificed December portal success for the high school class. And I think we're all in agreement that that was the right thing to do. But I thought the article, while it laid out sort of step by step, this was the challenge, this was the plan. That's what this staff does. That's the benefit of having a Hugh Freeze and other coaches who have coached in this league. They know the type of talent you need. They know the type of relationships you have to build. They know the number of hours in the plan, and they know what hasn't worked and what has worked. And so they can put together a plan to develop relationships, to go begin new relationships with 26 guys. They'll do it next year for 27 guys.
Sure.
And in fact, I think that's probably the strength. We're seeing portal success right now because that's what's popping right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's where this head coach excels, is building the relationships with the high school players and coaches and families. And there's nothing wrong with highlighting it and celebrating it and saying Auburn's going to have a seat at the table for the foreseeable future, just like it should, because this staff knows that it has to have a plan and knows how to execute it.
We talked about this last week, Brad, when we quoted a national analyst saying that Auburn's doing this build the right way. This is what the right way looks like. And things worth having are hard, and they take time, and it takes time to build these relationships. You can kind of put a Band-Aid on it and duct tape, which they've done through the transfer portal. But if Auburn's going to compete with Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State and, get a seed in the college football playoff in the coming years, they're going to have to do it through the high school levels. And they've got 2 solid classes, one really solid class. They're going to have another really solid class this year, and maybe a really, really, really solid class in 2026. But after you stack a few of those, then all of a sudden, you've got a top 10 roster when it comes to talent, because you've got 3 or 4 top 10 recruiting classes on it. That's how that works. And then, if some guys transfer, some guys don't develop the way you think, then you get a portal addition, and you just get 1 or 2 or 3 just to kind of, fill the holes like NFL free agency. They're close. They're close. It just takes time. And the transfer portal is the fun, instant gratification part of, our culture, personified in sports. And it's fun. It's great. But this stuff long-term is way more important for Auburn football.
No question. You can look at your starting 22 right now, offense and defense, and maybe this is something we do a little later on or another week, but how many of the starting 22 are portal additions? How many are high school recruits? And how many were left over from the previous regime? It may be a third breakdown, just raw, not even thinking about it really top of my head, but it might be.
I think most of them are transfers.
Let's
see. Peyton Thorne's transfer.
Yep.
Jarquez is a holdover.
Offensive line.
Percy Lewis is a transfer.
Yep.
Xavier Miller is a recruit from JUCO. Dylan Wade is a transfer. Connor Liu is
a recruit.
And then Jeremiah Wright will be a holdover. Tight end, Rivaldo, transfer. Wide receivers, I'm thinking Robert Lewis, Keandre, Lambert Smith, and Perry Thompson. So 2 transfers and a recruit.
Yeah. You meant Cam Coleman there, but it could be Perry by the end of the year.
I meant Cam Coleman, but still, Perry, hopefully. Best case scenario is Perry does start for Auburn. Gage Key, I don't know which 4 defensive linemen you want to pick, but most of them are transfers. Even Jason Jones is a transfer.
That's true. But he would count, I guess, as a holdover from
the holdover the way we're doing this. Yeah, sure. And then your edge is going to be Jalen, who's a transfer.
Yeah.
Linebackers, Eugene Asante would be a holdover. Austin Keys was a transfer after Freeze, right?
Yeah.
And then defensive back Keontae Scott is a holdover. Jaron Thompson is a transfer. Champ Anthony, I guess, at the star would be a recruit.
Yeah. Kayan Lee would be a recruit.
Mm-hmm. And then,
All right.
Yeah.
So, but to your point, you'd love in 2 years to go through that starting 22 and like 18 of them be recruits. You won't have the holdover category be gone by that point, but you'd love like 18 of those guys to be recruits that have developed and you've built, and the developmental piece is there, and now they're ready to step into the starting role, and you're rolling with them, and you only need 3-4 starting spots filled with transfers.
Yeah, and if we had to guess next year's starters, a lot of them would be recruits. So,
yeah, no question.
It's working. It's working. All right, let's spend a second on basketball in a second.
Okay.
Today's show brought to you by our friends at mybookie.ag. MyBookie is the best place to wager on all of your sports action, whether it's the NBA playoffs or the NHL playoffs or baseball is in full swing, pun intended. Be sure to check all that out at mybookie.ag. And right now, when you use the promo code next round, when you make that first deposit, it makes a very fun sound. It goes bloop. And that's just money, free money being added to your account. Be sure to check out our friends at mybookie.ag. Use promo code next round. Brad, give us a quick basketball update, if you will. Seems like a backup point guard is close to being a real thing.
Yeah, so Duke Miles is in. He visited. He took the pictures in the jersey and put a tweet out that said not committed, or a post on X that said not committed. But Duke Miles, just for informational purposes, he is from Montgomery. He is 6'3", 180, 185. Started out at Troy. I don't know if he was injured at Troy his third year or what, but his games played went down, but his productivity went up. So I'm thinking maybe there was an injury at play there. He transferred to High Point in Greensboro, North Carolina, and then went off last year. Played 30 minutes a game, shot 36% from three, 80% at the free throw line. Had 3.5 assists per game, 17.5 points. So size, scoring ability, and if he commits to Auburn, you're looking at a guy that wouldn't have to play 30 minutes a game, but a guy that I think it becomes very interesting, because we've talked since JP Pegues signed, we've kind of talked how you wouldn't need the 20-20 split or the 22-18-minute split in a game with your point guards. Would Duke Miles give you that ability, or do you want to do that? Or do you just want a guy to come in and play 10, 11 minutes a game who last year at High Point was playing 30 and scoring 17 points?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this seems like a 25-15 type split if it ended up being Duke Miles. And then you can ride with Duke Miles the following season, which I don't think is a bad situation to be in if you're Auburn basketball. You don't have to do this again next year. I think as far as backup point guards go, like, this is way better than what I was expecting. I was expecting like they need to go get a JUCO kid or something, or they'd have to be creative with how they rotate Denver Jones in and out of the game. But I think this is a great spot to be in.
And maybe if it's Miles, maybe you don't have to have Denver play the point guard at all now. Maybe Tahad Pettiford doesn't have to play point at all. Even though those guys can handle the ball, they can do it. Now you don't. And now as you look ahead to the 24-25, see, just projecting a little bit, sort of speculating if it's Miles, you compared to last year where you had, and I have tremendous respect for Trey Donaldson, and we certainly had a lot of hype for Aiden Holloway coming in, but you had a freshman and a sophomore as your point guards a year ago.
Yeah. This
coming season, you're going to have far more experience and far more scoring ability from your point guard position. And experienced point guard play is it's kind of like experienced center play on the football side of things. They're the ones who touch the ball first in every possession, kind of important. Sure. And you love what you get if you get two experienced point guards.
No doubt about it. Brad, I think that about does it for today's show. But real quick, thank you to all of you for the peach salad breakdowns or pear salads.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. The pear salad breakdown. That was really insightful stuff. Thank you all for the comments there.
We got a lot on pear salad, didn't we? I knew
more than I was expecting.
Yeah, I knew pear salad was going to get some feedback. I didn't know it would be 90% of the episode would be people reacting.
Yeah, it's like, did y'all only watch that? Like, okay, that's fine.
But it was, look, I got random texts too from people that I really didn't know watched the show with any regularity. And it was a comment about pear salad. So, hey, have you tried it yet?
No.
Are you going to try it?
Absolutely not.
Oh, Zach, wait. I've got it. For the next show, a live taste test. A live taste test on camera, pear salad.
I'm not committing to that.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to build the relationship and talk with you about it. And maybe we can get you to come around and offer your commitment next time.
All right. I appreciate that.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.